All right, we're back at it, making some picks for NWSL Week 7. Let's get started with some teams at the bottom, some teams at the top. Let's make a pick between Racing Louisville and Chicago Red Stars. This one also kicking off on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You can catch the action on CBS Sports Golazo Network, actually, if you're looking for a game to watch. This is one of those games that features on
Free
Golazo.
soccer.
Make
Free
sure you tune
soccer.
in. Catch morning footy, catch
Yeah.
box to box, catch
It is
all
free,
sorts of
people.
games.
It is free. Golazo Network is free. You just got to go to your Paramount Plus app
Mm-hmm.
online, whatever you want. Click
Yeah,
live and then click on Watch Golazo
I love
Networks.
it.
You can watch Racing Louisville Chicago for free this weekend.
100%.
Good match. Good match coming up.
Tune in. Let's make some picks. Chicago on the road, heading to Louisville, coming off of another loss against Gotham. Racing Louisville, also a team on the hunt for a win. And yeah, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I got this one as my draw. Lisa,
Nice.
there's just not a lot that I'm looking at between these two teams. I think again, similar to maybe what we were chatting a bit about with Houston, perhaps earlier in this episode. I kind of have similar feelings with the tactics and maybe not connecting with the players that they have in Louisville. We have seen um, some good individual performances from racing players, and they look like they're out there having fun. And sometimes, they also are part of wild score lines as well, but they haven't been able to convert any of those into a big win just yet, like a full 90 performance type of win that we're looking for from racing. And while Chicago does have a win under their belt, they've struggled to kind of get consistent results on their own. And so I'm curious if maybe going on the road, getting away from home field might actually be an advantage for the Red
Yeah.
Stars. Maybe sometimes you got to get out of there and shake it off. But that's also not enough for me. So I'm looking for the two teams to try to put together good performances,
Yeah.
but you hate to even sort of have this perception, this kind of still early in the season where we're not really even at the second half yet, but it does. It just sort of has a bit of a wooden spoon battle for me in this game. So I'm going with a draw.
Yeah, I respect a draw in this one a lot, actually. The way these two teams have been in recent form. So I'm with you on that one. I see why you're going with the draw. This is our full send wooden spoon battle because Racing Louisville 11, second to last place, Chicago 12th last place. You don't love to see it. I know you for Chicago, of course, but Louisville hasn't won a game yet. They have yet to pick up 3 points in a game. They've drawn, so they do have points on the table, and that's why they're not in last place. But they have not won a game yet. They're coming off a 1-0 loss to Orlando Pride, but that was a game where they were without midfielder Savannah DeMello. She picked up 2 yellows, equaling a red 2 matches ago, so she sat out last week. She's going to be back for them. It's at home. That's a big advantage for me that Racing Louisville now has in the midfield. Bringing back Savannah DeMello into the mix is great. It's because it's not like she's been injured and she hasn't been training. She's been doing everything behind the scenes. She just didn't get to play in the regular season game last week. So she's going to be incredibly fresh, incredibly ready to go at home in this match against Chicago. Meanwhile, Chicago, they're coming off that 2-1 loss to Gotham, and there was just a lot of pieces that were falling apart during that game. There's just not enough there right now for Chicago that I'm seeing. They have these moments of greatness, but then they also have really big moments of like mental lapses on the field where their opposition just takes advantage. The way that Gotham got the win in this game, their second goal came from a sloppy giveaway by Chicago and then a lack of defensive pressure against Lynn Williams at the top of the box. And of course she's going to score that goal. So it's like there are things that seem like they would be really easy for Chicago to fix rewatching film. Like, okay, if Lynn Williams is dribbling at you, you have to step because otherwise she's going to shoot and score. But there are just a lot of different pieces that have to come together for me in order for Chicago to get this win. And that's why I'm going to go with Racing Louisville. The return of Savannah DeMello is big for her.
Yep.
I think we've seen a lot from Uchenna Canoe up top, and Wang Shuang had a great game last week for Racing Louisville against Orlando, despite not picking up the win. And I think being at home for Racing Louisville is going to give them that little bit a home field advantage on a Friday evening in Louisville to pick up 3 points over Chicago.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think again another game where I'm looking at midfields here to try to combat each other. And I think if you're looking at Racing, while they've got some young pieces in there and a DeMello and a Howell, those are still players who are playing in a second year together. And DeMello is a player who's not having a sophomore slump and is going to be back, like you said, after
Yeah.
that red card suspension being served in the previous match. So yeah, shout out to Virgil. If DeMello plays and Racing's win, listen, you don't want to put it all on one player, but this is the type of player that DeMello is showing herself to be for Racing, that it's noticeable when she's not on the pitch for this team and noticeable when she is. So yeah, I'm with you. If she's in it, it's absolutely going Racing's way. But they too also have to make sure that they close out a game, right? We're still looking not only for a win from Louisville, but we're looking for a full 90-minute performance. And I think Chicago showed, like we were talking about that last game against Gotham, I was a little bit of a tale of two halves, where all of a sudden Chicago kind of showed up in that second half and push, but weren't able to get an equalizer or a result or anything. So, if you take it against, if Racing takes it against Chicago and then takes their foot off the gas, there's potential for things to get choppy maybe in the second half. So we'll see. It's one to keep an eye on, because I think this is one of the more unpredictable games for sure. I think when you're looking at kind of the streaks of these two teams so far in the 7 weeks of the season. But maybe another match where it's difficult to pick a winner or a loser or a draw. North Carolina Courage versus OL Reign. This one kicking off on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I like this matchup. I don't know. I consider it one of the biggest matchups of the week. I think we opened up the episode with the two biggest matchups to keep an eye on in Portland versus Houston, and then Angel City versus Spirit. But I would say that this one is maybe like the kind of under the radar match for people to keep an eye on, that maybe there could be a surprise in this one.
So why do you think that this is the one to match? What's the surprise you think that's going to come from these two?
Again, we're talking a lot about the phases of a long season, and I think for North Carolina Courage, even though they've got a lot of young pieces and newer names on that roster, they're starting to put some things together that are going to make the opposition in the scouting report forced to look at those things. I'm talking about a young rookie in Olivia Wingate. I thought she's had some really good performances. She's shaping up to be a problem for backlines and defensive shapes when you're looking at some of the highlights in the footage of North Carolina Courage. Caroline is looking a lot more comfortable, perhaps because she's got an extra outlet. It's somebody like an Olivia Wingate in this one. So look, I'm not saying it's going to be a shocker, but there's going to be some things here that I think people will be excited about. Shout out to Fourth Construction, who agrees with me. I love that. NC versus OL will be a great game. I think so too. Look, OL Reign is coming off of finally jumping into first place. They were able to pick up the result because Portland dropped some points against North Carolina Courage, right? We're just talking about a wild game that occurred. That was one of those 3-3 draws that Portland has had to go through over the last couple of weeks. And I think maybe that's where the argument ends. Perhaps if folks are looking to make a pick, they're like, well, if North Carolina is starting to get it together, they're also kind of conceding some goals as well. So maybe they're still going to go the way of OL Reign, because when we're looking at OL Reign, Lisa, we're looking at Megan Rapinoe getting more extended minutes, looking more comfortable on the ball. We've got a really deep bench that we're looking at for Laura Harvey at her disposal in a game like this. Who you picking in this one, and why?
I'm going to go with OL Reign, as you talked about the deep bench that they have, and they've been playing without Rose Lavelle now for several weeks. And she is such a big piece of this team, and the fact that they've been able to go 5 undefeated, picking up wins and points over the last several weeks. Their first loss coming in the opening week of the NWSL. That was it. And all doing it without Rose Lavelle, who to me is a massive piece of this OL Reign midfield. I agree. I do think this game is going to be very good to watch. I think everyone should take it in. The stylistic play between North Carolina and OL Reign is similar. And I think we're going to see a lot of fun action, like in terms of crosses into the box, the outside backs getting up really high and whipping crosses in. That's Emily Fox for North Carolina Courage. Ryan Williams, we've seen now being shifted out wider last week for Sean Nahas, where Ryan Williams thrives in wide spaces of the field. She's effective in the middle, but I think she's more effective offensively when she's in those wide spaces. She forced the first own goal for North Carolina last week in their opening match. But to see kind of what Emily Fox, Ryan Williams can do sending those crosses in. And then you look on the OL Reign side of things, Sophia Huerta whipping crosses into the box. Like, heck yeah, I want to see it. The Megan Rapinoe, the Fishlock of it all have been just a developing relationship that's been really fun to watch. So I think this game is going to be pretty high pace, high intensity, going back and forth between these two sides. But ultimately, I am going to give it to the visitors. OL Reign traveling to carry North Carolina. But I think this will be a tight one. But I do think OL Reign's going to stay at the top of the table, pick up 3 points, and get the win.
Listen, I respect and I feel you. Maybe there might be a bit of a frantic pace to this one as well.
Yeah.
I also think it might be a low scoreline, honestly.
Yeah.
I think OL Reign has had a few games now where they kind of have smashed that narrative a bit, right? That they are this attacking team, they can play this kind of beautiful soccer and get tons of shots on goal, but maybe not get the back of the net. They've got some games here where they've got some bulkier scorelines and saying, hey, we know how to get them back there.
Yeah.
And we're looking at North Carolina Courage, who maybe had a stretch of games there where they had some, shot totals where they didn't have a ton of attempts on target, actually, in order to even, kind of have a real dangerous threat on goal. Maybe that's changing a little bit here as both of these teams are going into this second quarter of the season. So I'm also going with the Reign in this one, but I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be narrow. I think maybe like a 1-0 at this one, maybe even like a 2-1. I don't think the margin is going to be. I think the margins are going to be a little bit finer in this one. So I'm going Reign.
I like that we're both going OL Reign in this one. You're putting a low scoreline prediction on it. You and I always have fun with these picks and these predictions, Sandra. And thanks to everyone that joins us live on YouTube, because our chat now is having fun, but they're going in a different direction. We've got Owen here saying that Wingate is going to nutmeg Cook. So they're making specific.
I'm high on Wingate, yeah.
They're making specific predictions about like situational experiences in the game. So Will, Olivia, Wingate, nutmeg, Cook, Owen. I like it. Andrew out here saying that Emily Sonnet's going to get a yellow card. I'm with you on this one. I actually agree with you, Andrew. I really like this prediction.
Man. Caroline is a menace. So maybe I would actually say that's probably a pretty good prediction there.